Okay then, Suzuki Hayabusa it is. A Hayabusa Generation 1 1999. It's actually registered on the 1st of 2000, 1st of January 2000, so it's a millennium bike, but a 99 model and a proper Generation 1 full power Hayabusa. Now, no, it's not going to be a Street Fighter. I built a Street Fighter over 3 years, as you know, and it was a fantastic project. And when I looked for the Street Fighter donor bike, I went out to look at a Suzuki Hayabusa or a Blackbird. I wanted something big and awesome to build a Street Fighter from. I couldn't find anything in the price range, and I stumbled across the ZX7R at absolutely ridiculous money, just £1,000. So I bought it, and that became the project. But today I wanted to revisit that. Now, those of you who've been following the channel for some time, you know I used to have a Hayabusa, a 2003, a Gen 1 just like this, and all black, just like this. And I did sell it because it was a reasonably pointless bike at the time. I couldn't do anything with it in its standard guise, and it was far too nice to chop up. But this one isn't. This is very much a shed. And this bike has had a very, very hard life. It truly has. It used to be orange. I think it's been painted with rattle cans badly. I know you can paint beautifully with rattle cans. I think I've proved that, but this really isn't beautifully painted. It's just a tired old bike, a campaigner that I think 8 previous owners have all had their fill of. And this baby now is time for a fresh life. A new life with me. I'm going to make something completely different out of this. And I did promise, if you remember some time ago, to build a CAF racer, or cafe racer, call it what you like. And I think this is the most bizarre, silly and ridiculous choice of donor bike to build a CAF racer from. And that makes it the choice. I want a challenge. I want to build a CAF racer out of this that looks instantaneously a CAF racer. The minute you look at it, yep, that's a CAF racer style. So that means all the fairing off, all the ugly bodywork gone, tail gone completely, all the fairing gone, and make a standard stripped down CAF racer style bike. It's going to mean some fabrication of a whole new tail. That's going to be very interesting, and do something with the front as well, because although it's got clip-on style bars, they're kind of a cross saddle all mounted in. That's not very CAF racer, so that will be a challenge too. So there we are. I'm going to get stuck straight into this build. It's going to be a reasonably long build, probably for the rest of this year, but I'm going to try and keep it interesting, fascinating, and fun and games at the same time. It is a little bit daft. It is ridiculous to turn a Hayabusa into a CAF racer. I have seen it done a couple of times. If you look at the Google images, there are some fun ones out there. And also, I'm not going to waste an awful lot of time like I did on the Street Fighter build on just rubbing down body filler. This is not going to get painted pretty. It's going to be dirty, ugly, and horrible. It's going to be a little bit of a rat rod at the same time. And that's what I've also wanted to do for a very long time. So a cafe racer rat rod out of a Suzuki Hayabusa. So let's get stuck in with job number 1, which, as you looked at the last video, was to make those bobbins for the swing arm so I can get a paddock stand under this, because right now it ain't very safe. Once it's up nice and safe, let's look at the very first job I've got to do today, right now. Right, okay, before I get flamed, these are very loose and they're only temporary, but please don't strap your bike down on the fairings because you'll damage them. And it doesn't matter to me because these fairings are all going in the bin, but that isn't a safe way to strap the bike down either. It isn't strapped down with them, there's no weight on it. So I just want to say that before I get loads of flames in the comments. I haven't strapped it down on the fairing, I've just hooked them on so it won't go anywhere while I do the next job, which is get those bobbins in and get it up on the paddock stand nice and safe. Then I'll strap the front down properly. Okay, now the first job I've got to do before anything else, the first burning task that this bike has to have, is a new ignition lock and a new tank cap. Now the reason for that is that the previous owner said there's been some problems with it. When you put the key into the ignition lock in the normal way, you turn it on, nothing at all. And when you check why, you reach down and get the wire off the back of the ignition switch, there's a plug. So the ignition switch is completely unplugged, and that's what the previous owner decided to do as a remedy to this switch naffing up. There's something wrong with it apparently in the bottom of the switch. It's not turning on. They've double checked everything. It's just something wrong with the switch. It needs a new one. Now, they couldn't get this off because they didn't know how to get the ignition switch off to change it. So they sourced a second-hand switch to which they didn't have a key, and they've hidden it under this fairing panel. So you have to put the key, this is the fun part, in under this side cover panel, grope around in there. There's another ignition switch or another ignition barrel been fitted under there. You pop the key in it, it's kind of a bit sloppy, and then you turn it, takes two hands, and you get ignition, and the bike starts. However, the key falls out because the ignition barrel that they fitted under there wasn't the correct one. They didn't get keys with it, so they've just chiseled it through so that a key, any key, fits in it and turns it. And there, I guess they were banking on the principle that you can't see the ignition barrel under there. You can barely even reach it, but if you know where it is, you can then start the bike. Now that's not a safe state of affairs, is it? That's not a satisfactory state of affairs. So what it needs first, before anything else, is a new ignition barrel completely, and therefore a new tank cap as well, so the whole lot is on one key. But first of all, let's change the tank cap, because that's an easy task, and I'll show you what I bought, which was an absolute success. Can't believe this. I'll show you. Alright, now I phoned the guys at Wimoto, told them what I needed. I said I need an ignition barrel and tank cap. And they said, yep, we do a kit for that. And here it is. It took just 2 days to turn up. It was in stock. Here it is. This is it. Here we are. Polystyrene everywhere. One ignition barrel, two keys, and one tank cap. Job done. Right, there we are. That's the easy bit. Now I'm going to get this ignition barrel off. It's mounted underneath the top yoke itself, not this thing. This is the saddle that holds the handlebars. So let's get this out of the way, get the top yoke off, and hopefully we can see how it's connected. And hopefully I've got the right tool to undo it, because these are done up with security bolts. Push me up. Right, there it is. Seems to have been cable tied to the fuse box. And there it is. That's the working ignition switch, but doesn't hold a key because it's been screwdrivered through. Bang, bang, bang. They've just chiseled it through so it works because they didn't have a key. Okay, take our new one, plug him in, make our new keys. Does it work? It shall do. Right, there it is, screwed to its yoke, and to undo it we need to undo these two screws underneath. and they are a security Torx screw, which is a regular Torx screw with a little pin in the middle, sort of machined into it, so you can't get a normal Torx bit in. You need a Torx bit that's got a hole in the end, like that. And you can buy those, so there we are. If you invest in a few tools, that will be a no problem job. If you haven't got a Torx bit with a hole in the end, you'll never get them out, even with a drill bit. Don't even try, you'll just make a horrible mess. Just get some of them, buy a little set. It's T40, the smallest one that I've got, but it does the job. There we go. Excellent. Lovely. Right, now you've got to bolt it on properly. Right. Okay, one final check. Contact. There we are, first job done. Complete ignition barrel replacement along with the tank cap for £48. There we go. Right, okay, Caf Racer, Cafe Racer. Why is it two different words? It just depends where you're from. Where I get my full English breakfast and a cup of tea is the Caf up the road, so it's a Caf Racer. But you call it what you like. For me personally, a cafe is a posh place for posh people who have posh coffee. And I don't do any of that business, so it's a Caf Racer. Now, a Caf Racer from a Hayabusa. What a ridiculous thing to do. And that's exactly why I bought it. It wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. It was a bike I want to take a proper time to make a really nice custom build from. It will be rat rod because I don't want to waste my life anymore rubbing down filler and sanding and doing lovely paintwork. It just isn't something that's interesting to me. My favourite thing is fabrication, I think you know that, and I want to make some really cool stuff for this. The only thing that's going to remain is the tank. All of the plastic bodywork is going, the whole tail unit completely, the full fairing and the nose cone, the whole of it's going, and I will use it to fund the build. So it's all going to go on eBay for sale. If you have a need for a Generation 1 set of bodywork, I want to sell it as a complete lot, all of it. So let me know in the comments and we can talk, we'll come up with something because it will help us fund the build. Going to get rid of this bling, there's this plastic bling on the sides, but look, all of this will be in the next video. The next one will be a strip down, take off all of this stuff I don't need. In between now and then, I'm going to ride this thing a few times and give it a good shakedown and see what it actually needs. Already in the couple of rides I've given it, it has got a little chatter on the front brakes. Now it could be a warped disc or it could just be the bobbins need shifting a bit so it cleans it up, I don't know. But I'm not going to spend gratuitous money on this that I don't need to. It is a rat rod build. If I can make do and mend with ghetto fixes, I will. However, things you can't make do or mend is bearings. I want to replace all 5 wheel bearings. This bike's 38,000 miles and 20 years old. I think all 5 wheel bearings need replacing. Chain sprockets, brake pads, I want to rebuild all the calipers and of course strip that suspension system underneath as well. The short link needs completely ripping apart, all new bearings in it because it's a little bit crunchy, the action's moving a little bit, it's got a feel of grind to it. So I want to replace all of that. So all of those housekeeping jobs will be the first quarter of this project, and I hope you enjoy them. They will be important. Get them out of the way, sign them off. Once that's done, I can start focusing on all of the great fabrication and design work, and I want to design a proper calf racer tail, something very traditional. I'm going to try and bring a really traditional calf racer look to a really untraditional bike, and hopefully I can pull it off at the end. It's a great challenge. It will never be a Street Fighter, and I'm going to have to fight myself to go away from Street Fighter hues at all possible. I've done a Street Fighter and it's just the obvious thing to do with a Hayabusa, so I've got to fight to let it not roll into becoming a Street Fighter. It's definitely not going to get straight bars. It will have clip-ons, but not even these are touring bars, so even all of this will be for sale, because I'm going to put proper clip-ons on it lower down. It will be a proper calf racer when it's done. Anyway, that's a lot of chat. That's it for today, day one. A new set of locks. It needed that before it needed anything else, and I'm really happy to have that done. Fresh brand new set of keys for both, and now I can move on and start looking at what it needs to get it on the road, ready for its proper build. And I don't mean on the road, I mean on the lift. Anyway, right, so obviously that's the board from the last build. I'm going to rub that off. I'm going to put a name on for this build. Something I've just thought of quickly. It's a Hayabusa. It's going to be a calf racer, so I'm going to combine the words and make it a project. If you can think of a better name for this project build, then let me know in the comments, and I might use that if it's better than mine. So there we are. You take it easy. I'm going to update the board, ride safe, and I'll see you for the next one for a strip down.